What's up, studs and studettes? You have maybe my twin brother with less hair on the podcast today. Like, it's amazing how many people will tag him and I in posts that I've never met. They're just like, oh, these two guys sound the same, look the same, operate the same. They're both loud and high energy and all over the place. I assume the majority of my audience, or a lot of them, know of this person. We're gonna jump right into it with Chris Scoville. Thank you for being here today, sir.
Man, thanks for having me.
We've been doing,
Journey.
I was saying we've been doing this this online dance for probably 3 years now.
3 or 4, yeah. I mean, we met in Apex, right?
Or I
break free.
I can't remember at this point.
It was break free back in the day, like 2007. Yeah. Dude, we met in 2017. Remember, nice. I came back from Texas. I was like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. And I went and built the HIN services, Home Improvement Network. And I'm like, dude, I want to have you on the website. Built the whole thing for you there.
It's been you've been on the entrepreneurial journey and pivoting and trying to figure out what works across the board, and kind of doing all that while also being an entrepreneur, right? Which I think is something that, you're a high performing entrepreneur, at least from what I'm aware of. You wouldn't have lasted as long as you have in your job if you weren't, while also building an entrepreneurial bug. So, like, why both? Why is that something I've always been kind of curious? Like, why are you so passionate about both? Is it keeping the entrepreneur side to fund the entrepreneur side? Is it just you like doing both? Like, what's kept you kind of in this middle period?
Great question. So I've been in the trades since I was 19. I started as a roofer here in South Florida doing tie beams. So very soon after that, I got into financing construction jobs, construction permanent wholesale lending at like 23. And I'm 52 now. So I've been in this space for so long, and I've worked every aspect, resi, commercial, 203K, like I've worked every bit of it. And I think by now it's like I've been branded as the guy to go to for financing assistance, whether I can help them or not. People come to me and we do a simple consultation. And if I can help them, I help them. If I can, I can. I send them someplace where I can. So I think that the balance of working for a very large company, right, the 6th largest bank in the United States, and I'm senior vice president of business development and directorship, like, and then coming up with this crazy idea 4 years ago and the reiterations. And then now, I've got a team out in California that run Blue Pages Pro. It's like, imagine like loving something and then leaving it. It's probably a little bit of a combination of both. I know at some point it's probably going to be necessary when, we're at 15,500 people on the Blue Pages. Alex runs that division, and we've got 15,000 contractors on that platform. Who says by next year we won't have 25? So I think at some point the scales will tip, and maybe I bring over the financing consulting side to Blue Pages and we do something there. But man, here's the deal. I love what I do. So it's hard to stop loving what you do on the, what did you call it? The
intrapreneur. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I branded myself within a big, huge corporation, right? So
it's not a bad thing. Like, you get to go in, do the part of the business you're passionate about, and then go home, right? Like, there's some value to that, like being able to say, like, this is my job. This is the only part I have to worry about. I don't got to worry about taxes or finances or HR or nothing.
Yeah.
And, you've built a very successful career over time by blood, sweat, and tears, right? Like, I'm sure over 30 years. I don't understand how you're 35 and you've been in business and you've been doing this for 30 years. That's just my own opinion. But, I'm sure that came with its own roller coaster of challenges of maintaining that career path. So then I guess I'll ask the second question is what problem did you see that the Home Improvement Network and now Contractor Blue Pages is trying to solve? Like, you have to be really passionate about an issue to go into the depths of, like, coding and website development and business development of a separate entity, a separate brand. What was the problem you saw in all these conversations that you were having on the financing side that led you to want to solve a different problem on your own?
That's a great question. I've done a lot of podcasts as of the last 3 months. Nobody's asked that. It's a great question. So, and that's what we do, right? We create something to solve a problem. So it all started with this. we wanted to like help contractors on the back end of a sale, because I believe that the sale happens after sale. So we started this thing out 4 years ago, and it was called the R4 method: reviews, referrals, rewards, and retention. And it was this automated cool thing of delivering, cookies and getting more reviews and retention, rewards, and referrals. And then we got into it, and I was like, oh my gosh, how are we going to get clients? So I was like, well, I got an idea. I'll build the field of dreams like Kevin Costner. If I build it, they will come. So we'll build this contractor blue page, is what it was first called. And we'll create these listing in this organic directory. And then we'll be able to call them and say, hey, we're R4 method and we do this. So we got into it. And then I was like, well, wait a minute. Like 2 years later, I'm like, holy cow, the contractor blue pages is the real business. So we flipped the script. I shut everything down. Home Improvement Network, buy. R4 method, buy. Change the name from Contractor Blue Pages to Blue Pages Pro. So why we brought this solution to the marketplace is I saw Blue Ocean Strategy. Contractors don't like to buy leads from Angie, Thumbtack, and Modernize because they're third-party, non-exclusive leads.
Yep.
And I've got nothing against marketing companies. What a job. We're not a marketing company. What we do is we build custom landing pages. We launch them with a bunch of really cool automations, technology, financing. Financing is built into it, right? And then we, on the backside, have traffic packages. How can I get consumers to this? Mike, I've got ABC, Chris's ABC. How do I get consumers to it? So we've got traffic bundles, and we do it kind of in an organic, direct marketing, kind of social, like we do some really interesting things. So we're not a marketing company. Our pros that we hire that do the traffic packages build a package for the contractor to drive leads to their tool, which is their blue page.
Yep.
So we're not a lead aggregator. We're more like Zillow, but for home improvement contractors, because we don't charge for leads and there's no friction. We build this beautiful custom landing page and we put it on this big, huge directory, which there's an exit strategy in 5 years, by the way, for Alex to take this to somebody and exit out of it. But that was really the goal, was to build a tool that didn't exist in the marketplace, not charge people for leads, help them build their own tool to drive traffic to it, and then come up with these traffic bundles in order to get, lots of new relationships into it. So that was really the idea. And we shut everything down, and Alex has been solely focused on that for like 2 years. And we're getting ready to launch the portal, and where hopefully you'll come in and be a coach and a consultant to the 25,000 contractors that are on it now. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
No, I mean, it's definitely an interesting, approach to a problem that's out there, right? So basically you're saying, hey, I'm going to take a contractor and make them look better online with their online presence with this landing page. They're going to look different. They're going to read different. They're going to appear a little bit different than maybe they can do on their own. And then we're going to bring the demand to them through these traffic bundles, I think is what you call them. Yep. And that way you're saying, hey, you're a homeowner, you're an adult, you're a contractor, you're an adult, make your own decisions.
Direct connect, right? Like, so when you go to Zillow, and you go to look for a home, you go address, you do your filtering, the map comes up on the left and the homes come up on the right. And there was a reason why I built it that way, right? So the map comes up on the left and the contractors come up on the right. If you have a pro plan through the directory, you automatically, algorithmically appear at the top. So the chances of a consumer choosing a roofer in 33441, if you're a pro plan, you auto-populate to the top, they click it, and then boom, they're on your custom landing page. Now, within the landing page, there's a finance tool that has a direct API, so you can get approved to $100,000 in 15 seconds. This is one. We've got Roofer's Instant Estimator. I've got a thing over here. Tool. We've got Roofle's Roof Quote Pro tool. We've got Hatch Automation. I've got video. I've got Company Cam Showcase Gallery. I've got Project Map It. So we build a microsite designed to help the consumer connect, convert, and close all on one page. So it's not a website. It's literally a landing page designed to help them connect, watch a video, look at the jobs that they've done, apply for financing, and boom, they're connected directly to the contractor. So it's a different approach to, I'd say, marketing. It's not a website because there's no other buttons on it. It literally keeps them on one page. Like Mark Zuckerberg says, never let them leave your platform.
Yeah.
We wanted that experience. All these tools are on one page so they can click and do all these neat things.
Well, you basically took the fluff out. I mean, most websites are just full of fluff anyway that people don't even really care about. They're just there to get specific answers. Basically, who are you? Can I afford you? And can you solve my problem is basically what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And so you kind of simplified that. So I guess, my question around that, this is just a personal perception, not that I think what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's so many people out there thriving with a more human process.
Yes.
Right. Which is more difficult to scale. It's more difficult to automate. It's more difficult to hire and train. But when you do it well,
yeah,
it crushes compared to, like, let's say the self-checkout line at Walmart, right?
Yep.
So how do you blend a human element
Love it
into this automated process? Because, like, look, I get all these platforms, I get all these roofers and roofers and all that. I understand why they're doing it, because what it does is, in my opinion, it limits the risk of piss poor employees, right? Getting things wrong, which are like not delivering the client experience that you want. So you're basically saying, I'll take a little bit lesser of a client experience than a perfectly executed human experience, knowing that most of my sales reps can't deliver a perfect experience.
Yep.
But you got to blend the human element in it somewhere, right? Like, I don't think we're at the point now where someone's going to a website, clicking a button for financing, picking their shingles, signing the contract, and then 2 weeks later their new roof is on their house and they haven't talked to a single person. I don't see us there yet. So how are you blending all of that together? Because I know you're a person-to-person salesperson.
Yeah, you
like,
already know I thought this.
Chris Scoville is that guy.
So how I brought the humanistic approach to it was very simple. We created a digital business card. So I'm at Dunkin' Donuts, they see my truck, and someone's like, hey, man, I saw your big jacked up stupid truck out there. You're a roofer? We got a leak. So the digital business card, they just tap it on and boom, it takes them to the blue page. So in addition to the blue pages, there's also Rep Pages Pro. So we have individual rep pages that bleed into the blue page. So each sales rep is out there. They get a digital card. They tap it. It goes to their rep page, which is all about the why, the humanistic approach of why Mike Claudio works for ABC Roofing.
Yeah. Who he is, why you can trust him, like kind of all that stuff.
So we've got that. So that's a humanistic approach, face to face. You meet somebody out in the industry, it pushes them to the blue page. The next is obviously the Lead Scout program, where we have built the custom QR code with tracking ability and Google Analytics and the Pixel. So when that postcard or the door hanger's there and they come home for the 100% financing offer and they click it, it goes right to the blue page. And the video is, hey, thanks for scanning that QR code. Pretty neat, huh? Well, I'm Jim. We were in your neighborhood today working at ABC 123 over here. And listen, we're going to be in your neighborhood this week. If you'd like us to come out and do an estimate. So we personalized the video and the offer to the QR code that's tracking to the specific neighborhood that they're. So we wanted to, we didn't want to be this big, huge, thing. My approach to marketing is I call it the Truman bubble effect, which I think other people call 5 Mile Famous and different types of.
The Truman bubble effect, that just shows how old you are, bro.
Yeah, man. I think
most of my audience probably doesn't even know that movie. Like,
well, that's good. I get to tell the story. So my approach to this, because contractors want to be everywhere all the time, every zip code, the whole county. My approach is totally different. It's more humanistic of, why don't you just fucking dominate 33441? Like, there's 3,650 homes here.
Yeah.
There's enough work for me in 33441 that I could dominate my bubble, build systems and processes to that, and then take that theory and go to 33442.
And
right?
capitalize on the momentum of a smaller, people see you more in the same neighborhoods and everything else.
Yeah, that's
1998. That movie came out in 1998, just in case you were wondering.
That's the approach that I want, and I coach and I consult with on, here's your blue page, here's your postcards.
Yeah.
Where's your jobs? How do you drip on this neighborhood and love on these people? And how do we tie the humanistic approach to it? Now, this is great. So contractors always want these, I want this professional video. And I'm like, no. I want you standing in front of what you just created, talking about that and how you can help that person that's watching the video. Like, right. I don't care if you're good on it now. Make it real and authentic so they watch the video so it doesn't look like a freaking stupid commercial. And that humanistic approach is really what's super important to me, where we sometimes miss that on websites, because a website's really just a Sears catalog. It's a brochure, where a landing page should have a focused conversion attachment to something. You should be talking about an offer. You should be talking about the scan. You should be talking about the financing. You should be talking about them to do something on it so they actually take action and do it.
So you've referenced a lot about the roofing industry, and obviously I think that space is going more automated faster than others because I think it's just simpler to get the data points, right? Utilizing satellite technology, you're able to get more information virtually compared to like a remodeler can't get the kitchen schematics, right?
Yeah.
So are there other industries that you are working this with right now that you are finding success, or is roofing kind of the primary one?
Everything. I'm only saying roofing because it's just so easy of a word for me to say. I work every asset class you could imagine. If it goes in it, on it, or around it, I'm financing it, right? So I just hung up the phone with a woman from Washington. She does 5.1 million a year in water heaters. Her average ticket is $1,800 a month. So she's financing now. And it's quite simple. The tech shows up and he ain't a salesperson or a financier. And he says to the consumer, hey, listen, we've got some finance options. It works this simple. I'm going to scan your driver's license and it's going to go in the tool and it's going to kick out an approval. And you're going to sign electronically. And we're going to come out and install this thing tomorrow. And your payment's going to be $25 a month. Like, that's not rocket science. But no, I serve all of the asset classes. I only pick on roofing just because it just seems like between Owens Corning University, Beacon, and all the trade shows I've been at the last 3 months, it's just been like roofing central for some odd reason. But
no, they've definitely, well, and I knew that was going to be your answer, and I wanted you to say that, so for the audience, people who are listening. But no, I definitely think the roofing industry is definitely a little bit, from a technology and interest in education, is definitely ahead of some of the other ones.
It's catching on. They didn't like financing until like a few years ago, man.
Yeah. So, but it's catching on faster than I think other industries right now. From a utilize. You got like Service Titan that really kind of took the CRM world for service companies to the next level. And there's other ones like that. Yeah. But I think roofing specifically, with the ability to grab the measurements you need virtually, it's the only industry that can do that, right? Like, you can't do that any other way as it sits right now.
No, man. Hover's working on something very interesting now for windows and doors.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have some sick advancements in the next 3 years. I mean, imagine
in the next 10, though, I think like all home appliances are going to be connected. So like your plumbing company can just log into your fucking, hot water heater and say, hey, it looks like this is the issue. Here's what's going to cost to fix it. Like, we're not that far from that. Right. And you get into smart roofs, you get like these, you got I think it's OC's doing the solar shingles now. And yes, maybe it's GAF, but like, so like those are going to be connected going forward. Right. So there's, I think in the next 10 years, if you're a home service company not absorbing or adopting technology, you're gonna get crushed. Like, because people are just gonna beat you to the punch because they can have they're investing in the platforms or the iPads or whatever, or the processes and the training internally to say, no, we don't need to go to their house anymore. What do you mean? I'm 55 years old. I've only sold from the house. Well, you better figure it out, because we have to beat our competition to the front door. Yeah. And it's coming, man, for real.
We are just inking a deal right now with an entity that on air conditioning pro pages we're going to have an e-store. They can go on and buy an air conditioner with a click of a button, and they can come out and install it.
Yeah.
It's right around the corner.
It is. It's here now. It's just not consumer friendly yet, right? It's there. They're working on it. It's just, maybe it's not cost effective yet for the contractor because it's new technology, so it's more expensive, or the consumer is not ready to operate that way. But as the generation, which I think is right behind me, because I didn't get my first smartphone until I was in college. Yeah. Right. Because like it just wasn't a thing. So now, like, you got people who have grown up with technology. Like, this is a true fucking story. I'm taking Everett on a father-son date tomorrow after baseball practice. And I said, let's go to Chick-fil-A. He grabs his brother's non-connected iPhone and he pulls up the fucking Chick-fil-A app and goes, I'll order it. He's 4. He's fucking 4.
Dude, I know he was 4.
He's 4. The phone's not even connected. He just knows there's a Chick-fil-A app from watching mom order it sometimes. And so, like, there's a 4-year-old who says, we're going to Chick-fil-A and I'm going to order it on my phone, not go stand in line. Which means, like, we're not that far away from every decision maker on the planet looking for the technological, seamless way to make it better.
Yeah. I can't tell you the amount of times I'm doing my Irritate thing in the morning and listen to my podcast, and they're like, they recommend a book, And I just swipe up and I swipe to the left and I go to Amazon and I put it in and I click and I deliver it. And well, they're here right now. My dogs are barking. Amazon's dropping off. I lost my E-Myth book. They're here right now. They just pulled up. Amazon is dropping off the E-Myth revisited because I can't find mine. I must have given it to somebody, highlighted, earmarked. Dude, it's just so convenient to shop now.
Well, so, that's what I tell my clients all the time. Like, I mean, I coach contractors. I mean, you know that. I think most of my audience does. And it's like, you have to be more, you have to be easier to do business with.
Yeah.
And so for you, you're developing this whole integrated, internally driven process. But for some people, it's just like, bro, answer the phone. Like it's still not that difficult to differentiate. Like, everything you're describing right now is completely innovative. 100% agree. But some people just need to call people back and they would be winning more than they are right now. Like, it doesn't take much to differentiate yourself in the market today. In 10 years, it's going to take a lot. You're going to have a lot of shit in place, a lot of training, a lot of technology, a lot of knowledge in order to keep up with the competition. 100% that's coming.
I am on the phone still. I'm 52, so I am old school. I'm on the phone all day. I'm not just texting and emailing you. I'm on the phone closing.
Yeah, you're a talker for sure.
I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone closing deals, man. Like, that's how real companies were built. It ain't complicated. Pick up the phone, dial the number, and try to talk to somebody, and then follow up with an email, right? Or like whatever your system and your process is. People we have to tell guys all the time, don't blind copy, don't blind text, don't blind email this thing. Pick up the phone and call your clients and communicate with them. Because how much do we uncover during a consultant? Like, you start
if you know how to have a consultative sales approach.
Do they just start talking and they'll start telling you their deepest problems? Like, I didn't know this.
It's incredible, the things we don't need to know that we find out.
If I had text or email, I didn't get in deep like that. Like, you would tell me what your real problem is.
But even just simple. Okay, so a true proof of concept of what you're saying is we've done the Ask Mike Anything now for like 38 weeks, right? And we used to just have people like text their question to us via DM or in a comment section. We started recording some. We actually had the person who asked the question send a voice note of the question for us to play on the recording. So it just brought more human element into it. Okay.
Yeah.
Every single person has not just asked the question, they tell a story and context because via voice is easier than via text. So text might be quicker, but it's also shorter. And so that same people, same question, same problem, instead of just let's just say 8-word question, it's a 40-second voice recording of them giving context to the question, which has completely changed some of the answers we would have given otherwise. Wow. And just that simple proof of concept of people want to talk.
They do.
They really do. They really want that human element. They really want connection. They really want people to see, hear, and believe in them. They want people to recognize their presence and their value and have a back and forth volley of some form. And that's not uncommon. But dude, so many people are going the automated route. It's getting dangerous.
Let's talk about that for a sec. So in financing, you can do a soft pull technology where they just go, they click, they do a soft pull, and they get pre-approved. And then there's other real companies that show up and you can apply in a minute and then get an approval. And I had a conversation with another gentleman because he's going to go manage this company from another big company. And I said, what's the big problem that these guys are facing right now? And he said, well, they're doing the soft pull thing and they're not getting any loans approved. They're not closing. I said, they're just sending out a link. Nobody's there in the home to have a conversation. He said, no. He said, well, that's where your problem is. And he agreed because he's a pro. The problem with soft pull and sending a link to somebody for them to get financing is you can't cover any objections that they may have at the pre-approval that may come back.
Yeah.
However, when you're at the point of sale, doing a sales consultation in a sales process, where you're communicating with them, is that you want to set it up so they do object. So you can close the objection down and isolate it. So when you fucking leave, there's no hidden objections and you won't have a cancellation.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with sales now is everyone wants to send a fucking link and let the magic fucking thing happen without communicating and bringing out those hard questions, getting the objections, isolating it, killing it, and then moving on and getting down to the real yes so it sticks. So that, and me and this guy we were like in concert today. I'm like, oh, we're going to fix this business, man.
All right. So talk to me about financing. I mean, obviously you've been, it is, to call it a passion of yours is probably underselling it a little bit, right? You've been in it for 30 years. You've been in, like you said, all verticals of construction. Why do you think there's still so many companies that are hesitant to offer financing? Like, what is the biggest objection that you're getting, and how have you been able to overcome it with the clients you've been able to bring into your process?
I think the biggest thing is just the fear of unknown, right? For years, roofers didn't want to offer financing. All my customers pay cash. Okay, that's the first lie, because all your customers don't pay cash. Do they give you a credit card? Yeah, we take credit cards. Well, that's a form of financing. It is? Yeah. Because the consumer's now stuck with a revolver, and the interest, it just rolls on top of it at a 24.99 interest rate. Like, yeah, you just gave them financing in really bad one. So like that was one that we had for years. But here's what the current situation is and why it's a little bit easier on the phone. Look, we have a current economic situation happening in the United States of America, right?
Yep.
Where consumers have less money. They don't want to access that money and pull it out of the market. Therefore, they're looking to leverage money from lending institutions, whether it's a promotional loan, 18-month with pay deferred, no payments, no interest for X period of time, whether it's a low monthly period for 5 or 10 or 15 years, whatever it is for affordability. It's much easier now. And we don't get many objections when people are saying, yeah, I'm thinking about offering financing. Once I've explained to them how easy it is to use and how it'll help them capture more relationships, from the marketing perspective to the closing ratios to the affordability factors, it's quite simple. But the pushback for a year, and the elephant in the room, has always been, well, I'm not paying a bank to use a finance program. That's called dealer fees, right? Which, if people understood that money costs money, how it comes from Wall Street and gets out into the world and it's got to be paid for, it's just a simple conversation of educating them. And it's not them being ignorant. I don't blame them. Well, I'm bringing you the deal and you're charging them interest, so you're the one making all the money. I'm not making anything. Look, just to get it to where it needs to be is, so it's just an education thing. Once we've educated on which particular products to use, how to build proper margins, and this is what you guys really do well, right? Yep. Margins, being profitable. Yep. I have the same conversation. Like, financing is just a product that's in your tool belt. It's just like the nails.
Yeah, it's another way to overcome an objection that you wouldn't have been able to overcome otherwise.
It's a tool, and if you got to pay for the tool to be in your tool belt, it's going to help you close more jobs because you got the proper tool.
Well, so and I think too, though, I think so many people underestimate how, like, consumers are just so finance comfortable. I mean, shit, you can't buy something on Amazon over $100 anymore without them asking if you want to break it into 4 payments.
We're conditioned now.
I mean, we're 100% conditioned that, like, financing is always an option. Yeah. If you don't offer financing, then, like, can I trust you? Because I'm sure, like, if someone came to me and was like, hey, we can do this, but we don't offer financing, I don't know if I would trust that they're a quality, like, relevant, up-to-date company. And for anything, for any service, right? Like, it's not just construction. Like, if I get, literally, you can't buy something on Amazon right now for over like $100 without being offered financing.
Yeah, $9.97 for an electric toothbrush through a firm, AFFIRM.
Yeah.
So look at the Super Bowl ads. No, not once this year. And I know you didn't watch the Super Bowl. I saw your post. So. Not nowhere on there in a car commercial did they say Ford F-150, $111,000. They said Ford F-150, payment options from XYZ. Ashley Furniture, you name it. Any advertisement you see on television, 60 months, no interest, no pay. Like, to think that these poor contractors have to show up on a $10,000 to $50,000 ticket and not have some type of financing and just assume that customer's got 50 grand laying around and they're going to write them a check or put on a credit card. It's a nuisance to think.
Well, it's like, what is it like? It's like 60% of Americans couldn't afford $1,000 unexpected expense, right?
It's fucking scary, man.
All right. So like, be objective. I want you to put your objective hat on for a second. You're no longer Chris Scoville, Senior Vice President of Commercial Financing. You're just a guy who knows the industry. What's the downside? Why would I not want to offer? Like, what is the risk? What is the concern? What can go wrong? Like, why would I not want to have financing as an option? Like, what's the risk associated with it? Is it just they don't want to spend money on money they think they would have gotten already? Like, what's the downside?
It's gonna be, and I will be object. You know me, I'm gonna be very honest.
Yeah.
I'd love to figure it out. There is no doubt. The downside would be choosing the wrong type of lending institution.
Okay.
So
define wrong. Like, what is that? Like, how do you know what right or wrong is?
Because there is none. There's no recourse. There's no recourse. So I need to define what that is.
No, I think people get it.
There's no recourse, so there's no downside when you're a contractor. You've installed the job, and the consumer doesn't pay on the loan. We ain't coming after you, the contractor.
Right.
Okay? So there's no risk there. There's so many upsides. So anyway, choosing the wrong type of a lending institution would probably be the biggest downfall to financing right now, because people don't know the difference between a broker, an institution, or a lender.
Okay, so educate us.
A broker, and I'm not going to knock them because I'll never talk poorly about a finance company out there, but brokers have a technology platform that you fill out the application, and then they send the application to multiple personal loan entities.
That's like the lending trees of the world, right?
Yes. Yeah, so they'll charge you $3,000 a year to use their platform, and then the application goes to these people, and then those lending institutions deal directly with your consumer. So now you as a contractor have relinquished control at the point of sale, and you've turned your borrower, your customer, into a cash buyer. So now because you've relinquished control and they have money, if they get money, it's going to be really high for short term, and it's not really great lending. But now you've turned into a cash buyer, which they now have the ability to do what?
Not pay you.
Ask for a cash discount, not pay you, and outbid you. So you've turned somebody that needed your services at the point of sale into a cash buyer. And so the dangers of financing are choosing the wrong entity. Now, the right entities to go to are ones that don't charge you to enroll in their platforms, are backed and really solid. There's like 6 of them that are really, really solid in the industry. They have a point of sale tool, that have risk-based pricing, that have dealer fees, and you know what the dealer fees are attached to the product, so you can build the right margins in there. So that's another big thing too. So here's another downfall, is just taking the matrix and running wild without building proper margins into your job. So if you're a contractor, you want to spend some time getting trained with that lending institution to make sure that your products are aligned with your asset class. Let's pick on roofing for a second. A roofer can sell 4 and call it a day. They can do a 15-year, a 5-year, a 10-year, and a 12-month same as cash, and not sell anything else outside of that box, and sell 98% of the jobs out there. Don't need to overcomplicate it. So I think that the big risk in it is the unknown of who to go to, and then not getting trained or set up properly for success, going to the wrong lender that doesn't have real people that can teach them how to sell them the home. That's the biggest fear, is getting hooked up with the wrong lender, I think, because there's no recourse. Financing helps jobs get paid. You and I have a mutual friend. He's here in Florida on the West Coast. He called me last month. He goes, "Chris, we got a problem." I said, "What's the problem?" He goes, "I got a customer that won't fund the job." I said, "Is it finance?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "She signed our finance agreement." He goes, "Yeah." "Job done?" "Yes." "Permit?" "Yes." "Company cam?" 264 pictures. "Done to spec?" "Yep." "Send me the information." Send it to the underwriter. Underwriter looked at it. We funded him in 5 minutes. Why? The customer was being difficult. It happens. They're the 1%ers. Number 2, the underwriter looked at the company cam pictures and went, "Holy cow, they did a really good job." They looked at the contract. It's done to spec. They looked at the final permit. They went, "This thing's approved and closed by the county." There was no way that the customer could fight the fact that the job wasn't done. Now, if the customer was paying cash, Mike, what would have happened?
Just would have never gotten it.
Maybe you would have had to have a lien, go to arbitration, go to mediation, discount it. The guy got out his $60,000. He got it within 20 minutes, ACH to his account. So that's a situation where financing helped him get his money, because the customer was being a pain in the ass and just was being difficult. The job was done.
So, and per the lending agreement and per the contract with the client, it all basically says, hey, this aligns the contractor to their job. It's not our job as the lender to hold their money back. That makes sense.
We can't force them. Like, people are like, well, you got to force them to no, we don't. If that job isn't built and it's not done to spec, or if you haven't been out to we've got guys that like try to get funding on jobs that aren't even installed yet. Like, Like, it's not done yet. You can't click that button. Oh, okay. I didn't know, man. I was trying to get paid before I'd been out there to visit. I'm like, there's some weird shit that happens.
Well, that's just, I mean, that's every industry.
It's usually
everywhere.
somebody in the office that just simply clicks the wrong button. Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's not 123 Main Street, it's 145 Main Street. So
Yeah.
anyway, it's fun. I'm passionate about it. I'm all fucking wound up right now. My dogs feel my energy from the other room. They're out there barking.
So what's next for Chris Scoville? I mean, you've done so many things. It sounds like the Blue Pages Pro portal is going to be getting ramped up here, and you got a very healthy initial kind of early adopter list of people that have bought into what you're selling here from the standpoint of what you're trying to do to connect the right people with the right people. So what's next? What are you excited about? What's coming up?
University. I've talked to you about this for a long time. I have the perfect model, and we've already got it modeled out. We want to build Blue Pages University, where folks like you come in there and do like a short training on, maybe finding your why or whatever it is that you want to talk about. And we put you in the university. So when our 20,000 contractors are in there and they're in the portal, we call it the Blue Pages Hub, they can go to Blue Pages University, click on a category, consultant, sales trainer, whatever it might be, technology, all the different categories, and go, I've heard of that guy, Mike Claudio. I want to really see what he does. Click on the button, then boom, your page opens, and it's a video of me introducing you and whatever the problem is and whatever you solve, and then it's your video, and then it's a way for them to contact you directly. We don't want to be involved in that, and I don't want rev share from it. I want to give back to the contractors nationally with this big, beautiful university where people can go get information, learn more about you direct, and then connect with you and maybe, do a consultation and end up hiring you someday. That's what I really want to do, is build this university out within it. I'm real excited about that.
Because if I'm understanding, like, the selfish perspective for you, and the reason it's kind of started was like, you want to sell more financing. Like that's like the underlying where your benefit comes from, that, right? So like, you bring these contractors in, you get them around like-minded people, you get them training, they sell more, they do a better job, they get more stuff, they build bigger companies, they hire more employees. You as the senior vice president of this other company, like, you're doing this and it's okay to be selfish in the sense, like, I'm putting a lot of effort in over here because you have put a fuck ton of effort over a lot of money, years, a lot. And, the underlying thing is like, I want to help this industry grow the right way. And it's like, I think everybody needs to have some form of selfish desired outcome, or like, it wouldn't be worth the effort. Like, the juice wouldn't be worth the squeeze. There wasn't something in it.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's why I built the API for financing in all the Blue Pages. I built this cool calculator, and they could click, boom, apply, and be in the portal within 5 seconds. Yeah. And make it easy for the contractor to connect to the consumer to connect to the contractor through that damn thing. So yeah, that's how I tied the whole financing thing in. And furthermore, I mean, there's this thing called indirect lending. That's the bigger issue that I solve for, is the fact that banks, we are an indirect lender. We don't advertise to consumers. We go through contractors. Contractors offer financing. But if you think about the Blue Pages now, if you're a consumer and you land on EHS roofing and you're going to a Blue Page, which is now direct. So I've actually created a solution to direct lending for an institution that couldn't do it before, because only enrolled contractors have the finance solution on their pro plan. The other guys don't have it, and that's why they don't pop to the top through the algorithm. Pro plans and pro light are at the top because they've got financing API built into them. So yeah, there's some slickness in there. And of course, we've got residential financing, commercial financing, business capital, merchant credit card processing, and scan pay. So I've got an entire financing solution built into the Blue Pages as well. So when we're talking to a contract and they're like, yeah, we're paying 3.5% on our merchant, I'm like, what? Or they've got a commercial loan down in Miami for $55 million at a mall. I can do that too. Or they need a line of credit or an equipment. I can do that too. So it's really anything on the.
You're making it easier for people to do business with each other in some.
A trusted source, right? Like, people trust me because you can't get any more real than me. Like, I'll tell people, if I'm not a good partner for you, I'll call your partner that you're going to do business with on the phone and hand you off to them.
Yeah.
I'm not for everybody, but I know who I'll send you to. If I can't help you, I know who to call so you can start offering financing. And I'd rather have somebody compete against me and offer financing than not.
Which ultimately makes everybody, helps everybody win.
Yeah, I don't care if you're with me or not. I got $6 billion a year here, man. I'm willing to give it to a competitor just so you can help more fucking customers.
And also, it helps increase the comfortability with financing. The more people doing it, everything else.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. So how do people get in touch with you? So if they're a contractor, they want to get involved, what you're doing there. If they're looking for finance, like what's the best place? How do people get in touch with all the things you're doing?
If on the Facebook, the Christopher Scoville thing, you can't miss me. Just Christopher Scoville, and you go into any group, they'll tag me, and just it's easy. Christopher Scoville, ChristopherScoville.com.
Cool.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you so much, man. I'm excited to see where this is going.
Thanks for having me on here, man. I mean, this has been good. You and I've been referring back to each other for years, and we've never had a podcast together.
I know, it's pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah.
We both have just been so busy.
How's your house?
Great. It's great. No, it's somewhat still surreal, because you watch the whole journey, right? And so there's some surrealness to it. And like the kids were swimming today because the pool's heated. Like it's just seeing the lifestyle that we've built. Sometimes it doesn't feel real because it's so, we'll just say abnormal. But we're homeschooling, which gives us freedom. We have the gym at the house, the pool at the house, a lot of different things that are kind of it's turned into kind of what we dreamed it would be pretty quickly. So it's pretty cool.
You see that?
Yeah.
You want to talk about surreal? I'll give it to you guys real quick. People that might not know this. In 2008, 2009, I lost my job. I was in the wholesale construction and permanent industry. I lost my job with everybody else. I lost everything. I sold my homes. I moved back to a hometown. I tried tons of different jobs out. Scoville Home Services failed. Snow plowing business, landscaping, and just wasn't there. Ended up driving a UPS truck for 3 or 4 years down in Tampa before I got called back into financing. Before I got the fucking UPS job, I made $12 an hour as a general manager in a titled boxing gym. So I went in short order within the last 10 years from making $12 an hour to being, back in financing, senior vice president of a very large entity, and I own a software company. I bought this house 3 years ago here in an area where my wife and I would get up on a Saturday morning, get a coffee and a donut, and drive around. And we said, someday we're going to live here on the Intercoastal. We drive here in this neighborhood. I'm in Lighthouse Point. I live on the Intercoastal, and the beach, the Atlantic Ocean, is a quarter mile down the street from me. We said to each other, we hadn't have nothing. We're going to live here someday. I live here. And I had an appraisal. I bought this place for $560,000. It appraised for $1.2 million. Because I'm getting a HELOC because we want to put new flooring in. Dude, when you put your focus on what you want, and then you go fucking figure out a way to go get it, you're going to get it.
Well, it makes certain things not matter anymore. Like I'll use your example of your car. Like your car was everything to you. And then once you're like, it actually doesn't matter at all anymore.
I needed the money to buy this house.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like when the mission's so clear, like you're willing to sacrifice what used to be important.
Yeah.
Because it's right there for the taking. I think so few people are willing to do that. Like so few people are willing to, cut, sacrifice, it's like when we bought this house, or we came to look at it at least the first time. I mean, it checked so many boxes from our vision board from 7 years ago. Tiff and I looked at it like, we don't have a choice. Like if what we put on that vision board is real to us, we have to buy this house. Yeah. It checked so many boxes just right out the gate. And it was like, if we're not hypocrites, because I think this is something that happens a lot. People put things on their vision board or they say out loud things they want. Yeah. And then when they get really close, they're afraid to grab it. The universe recognizes that and says, well, you actually didn't want it that bad. Exactly. Right? You didn't actually want it because you weren't willing to do that last 10%. Like the universe did this for me. God did this for me. He put me in the positions. He led me to the sacrifices. He led me to the investments. He led me to the decisions so that when this house became available. Have you heard the story of even how I found this house?
No.
All right. March 2022. So a year ago. Yeah. I put a post on social media. Hey, we're looking to move. I'm looking for 3+ bedrooms, 2+ acres, budget 1.2 million. That's all it said. On a Thursday, I made that post.
And it came out.
On Saturday, this house went live, and someone in my audience who I had never met said, "Hey, Mike, I think this house kind of checks a lot of the boxes for you."
I love it.
Because we weren't looking. This is 2 hours from where we live. We weren't looking here. Right. But I made that one post, 3 bullet points. I said, "Hey, I'm putting this into the universe."
Dude.
And boom.
I got something too. This is amazing. I recently have allowed, well, I say allowed, God has always been there for me. I've stiff-armed him for a while, but I've allowed it back into my life. And I'm talking openly about it now. I'm going to make a couple posts here and there or whatever. I've affected more people's lives by being open about what I'm doing in the journey. Dude, I had a guy call me today and he goes, "Chris," and he goes, "I just have to call you and talk to you." I was like, "What's up? Are you okay?" He said, "I don't know this guy, by the way." He goes, "You've changed my life." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Like a month and a half ago, you were walking with God and this and that." And he goes, "Oh shit, someone, hold on a sec here. Decline." All right, cool. Sorry. I lost you there for a sec. And I'm coming back. I don't know where the hell it is. Can you still see me?
Yes.
All right, cool. Anyway, someone called and knocked me offline.
Yep.
He said, "Dude, your post changed my life." And he told me the different things that he quit because I inspired him to allow God back into his life. Like, dude, do you know how that made me feel today? I was like, I almost was in tears. Like, the guy reached out to me, don't know him. "Can I talk to you for a minute?" "Yeah. You affected me on a video that you did a month and a half ago. You were just walking and talking to God." And he goes, it allowed me to go, "You know what? I want to do that too." Bro, like, what? What?
It's amazing what happens when you share like your willingness of the journey. Because people typically just get on and show the destination. They typically don't show what it took to get there and the long days. And I've tried to be really open about the journey that we've been on.
And not fake vulnerability for likes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I mean, and if it came across that way, like, that's just ignorance of how to say it correctly, right? Like, I've just been like, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's been cool because, like, I've built such a good, consistent following where, like, we have such a high renewal rate on clients, and like, it's not bragging, it's just saying like that only happens when people truly believe.
They've watched you freaking build it up from nothing to something.
Yeah.
The whole journey's been built right in front of all of our eyes. I mean, it's amazing. And you manifested that home.
Oh, 100%, like 100%. But that's why when we looked at it, we're like, we don't have a choice. God is putting this in front of us right now to test our belief in our own vision. If we would have said no and like got scared and backed out, I truly believe like the universe, God, whatever you believe in, would have been like, well, you're not serious. So I'm not going to give it to you again.
That's crazy, man. I love it.
Dude, what a great story, man. It's been so cool. I can't wait to like revisit this in like 3 or 4 years, right? Like, it's going to be cool to just continue to, champion each other and celebrate each other along the way.
This is awesome. Alex has got an investor. He's putting together a 5-year prospectus right now, so things could get really interesting for the blue pages. So,
well, you've built a number that's unignorable. 15 to 20,000 people. That's a number that's hard to ignore for most people.
Yeah. We're gonna change a lot of lives. We're gonna help a lot of people, man. Hope you and I can do it together, right?
Well, guys, if you're listening right now, engage with him. Obviously, there's a lot of cool things on the horizon, but also a lot of cool things that have already happened. So, Chris, man, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Mike. My pleasure, brother.